One brings shadow, one brings light. Two-toned echoes tumbling through time. Three stories fit and cast aside. For knowing no end in sight. One brings shadow, one brings light. Two-toned echoes tumbling through time. Three stories fit and cast aside. For knowing no end in sight. All our splendor be black in silence. Our surrender, a song reverie, slowly drifting down into twilight, left to sifting through fading memories. Know our places for what is wordless, evanescent, describing on the wall. Rather stay this descent to madness. Come and save us, catch us before we fall. Riding home, riding home, riding home. Don't lose hope. Like broken angels, wingless, cast from heaven's gates. We only fly when falling, falling far from grace. Our lives a message in a bottle cast to sea. Quick to their ends, our candles burn until we're free. In the rain to line and darkness fade, yes, time circles endlessly. All things change, drawn to the flame, to rise from the ashes to begin. We first must see the end. One brings shadow, one brings light. Two-tone echoes tumbling through time. We score wasted, ten cast aside. Oh, no, no, no end inside. One brings shadow, one brings light. Two-tone echoes tumbling through time. We score wasted, ten cast aside. Oh, no, no end inside. Rock of ages, we cast the first stone. In our cages, we know not what we devoted. Deep inside, we're nothing more than science and sinners. In the rain, to light and darkness fade. Yes, time circles endlessly. The hands of fate train ahead, right to the edge. All things change, drawn to the flame, to rise from the ashes. To begin, we first must see the end. Up to the end. All things change, drawn to the flame, to rise from the ashes. To begin, we first must see the end. Warning us to violence, violence, swearing us to silence. light. Shadows shifting, powers ignite to ultima behind. Pain or light, rush on riding overdrive. The windmills wicked, wandering blind, milling slowly, grinding fine. All the rotten wrist on which I die. Shifting paradigm to ultima divine. We pursue, will our dreams come true? Rush on riding overdrive, tilting windmills wicked, wandering blind, milling slowly, grinding fine. The ashes of my dreams all dried up. Child, bastard, and beast, all lost them first to the feast. Come claim if you're able a spot at this table, mild and meek, down on your knees. For hide and seek, it's time that we feed. Your heart is racing, blood is running cold. Your fractured will is whispering. Far away, hear Goliath say goodnight. With each part does your sanity die, sucking the life out, letting the dark inside. Say a prayer as the light leaves your eyes, or scream all you like, your lightning can't heal. Scream now, scream, your lightning can't hear you. Scream now, scream now, scream, scream to suicide. Don't choke on your pride. Scream now, scream, yeah, I'm gonna watch you bleed. Lance and free, how does it feel? You're bound as babe, those scars will not heal, no. Lost in suffering, drowning in your tears. Want someone, somewhere, tell me. Go from here, liar. Say goodnight, with each bite does your sanity die. Sucking the life out, letting the dark inside. Say a prayer as the light leaves your eyes, or scream all you like, your lightning can't heal. Scream now, scream, the rose can't hear you. Dressed in rage inside my cage, almighty put him else soon. Still bound to the flame that I bear, buried alive in the coffin of the hope I used to be. I'll scream all I like, 'cause we're all men here. Forever falling into my mind, deeper, the shadow of hope I left far behind. I'm just a stranger, we all strange inside. You can run, but there's nowhere to hide. So scream all you like, no one can hear us. Follow me, come follow me, till my deep wood and soon. Still bound to the flame that I've been. No release, fuck this empty waking wonderland. Just believe if you music ripped with the weight of fate. Ever we fight, never we fly. Ever we fall, forever we fall. Now breathe deep of the darkness beneath the flood, where all of the proud angels drink to their deeds of blood. Their lives twisted and torn into dreams they're spun. Yet ever we still stand tall, invincible. Never we fall. Melodies, our tears are painted in red. Deep inside we're nothing more than science and sinners. In the rain to light and darkness fade. Ever we fall, forever we fall. Now breathe deep of the darkness beneath the flood, where all of the proud angels drink to their deeds of blood. Their lives twisted and torn into dreams they're spun. Yet ever we still stand tall, invincible. Never we fall. As time circles endlessly, the hands of fate train ahead. Straight to the edge, a reflection in the glass. Recollections of our past, swift as darkness, cold as ash, far beyond this dream of paradise lost. Ever we fall, forever we fall. Now breathe deep of the darkness beneath the flood, where all of the proud angels drink to their deeds of blood. Lives twisted and torn into dreams they're spun. Yet ever we still stand. Invincible, never we fall. Never we fall. Invincible. Una menina pula te la omnida tua ona ramuta te me os no la tua matera without a name, heed my call. Sin to stain the hearts of us all. The world has burrowed deep. drifting tender, come ride, heroes ride. Her gallant severed away with the tide. The storm head gathers, come ride, heroes ride. Illusions scattered away with the tide. Why do weathered warriors wander their way where the wanting wonders wait? Hark, the herald's anchors away. Here the happens mine escape. Freedom forgone, sinking abyss, comets crumble, Phoebus fades under cosmic clamor decay. Hides the path untaken. Ancient echoes come ride, heroes ride. In deafening silence, we'll wait with tide. A wave of hazard, come ride, heroes ride. All in and windward away with the tide. Stellar stories, starward be strewn, slipping sidewise. See their snakes twixt the leaves, you'll find not a miss. Missing gods and crossing fates, freedom surging, shifting ahead. Comets dancing in her way to the cosmic clarions accord along the path not taken. Delicate tread on the road that is borrowed design. Through the sum of the suns do they seek tomorrow? Tonight, witness then as the end shall begin. What was final delight, floating back, further back, ever back to burn, back to primal. Come ride, heroes ride, ride with the tide. Come ride, heroes ride, so far from home, away with the tide. Come ride, heroes ride, so far from home, away with the tide. Come ride, heroes ride, to my final escape. ablaze. No more time to waste. No, it's not too late. Though a fleeting moment has gone to forge ahead. As we ride again, as you turn your eyes to the stars, another red.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to episode 114 of Lorelines. Today, we are going to be continuing our spoiler discussion on Solution 9 and the rest of Dawntrail. We might finish, we might not, but yeah, exactly. It depends how deep Meowth wants to dive into this. So, all right. Last time we had just started.
Are you
touching...
ready for lots of 13 talk?
Yes. Last time we had just started touching on soul fuckery. So I know we have Savage dropping on Tuesday. I'm very excited for that. I'm trying to get myself melded and geared to provide food and steal all the money from the Raiders.
Can I have food?
No. My food.
Are you deep in their pockets or something?
No, but well, maybe, I don't know. Good morning, Arden. Anyway, sorry, we're all tired, and coffee is a wonderful, wonderful drink. So
Yeah.
last time we believe we had started talking about the regulators and how they kind of introduced a whole level of soul fuckery into everything. And I kind of want to continue that conversation and start going into Solution 9 because we didn't get there last time. So after touring the Electro Strike and the outskirts, we are granted access to the marvelous world of Solution 9 in Everkeep, which is on the 9th floor. I'm just going to let that hang there. When we get the introduction from Aaronville, he says 12 3 times and 9 4 times. So this expansion,
must be a sign.
Yeah, it has nothing to do.
Numerology.
Yeah, nothing to do at all with what this
that is
expansion
what that
tells
is,
from.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Seems so.
So anyway, let's go ahead and start by saying, what has everybody been up to this week?
League of Legends Swarm.
Okay.
How disappointing.
I know.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I hope you're having fun. I actually just got my alt up, but I'm about to start a fully voiced playthrough and read all the MSQ. I know people have complained, and not unreasonably so, that a lot of stuff wasn't voiced this time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna fix that.
Nice.
Fun.
Because, I mean, for some people, sometimes it's hard to pay attention to. I get it. It can be an attention thing or whatever. So, help a brother out.
I like it.
I have been
Please look
speed
forward to it.
running a Dawntrail cosplay, is what I've essentially been working on this week, in addition to Savage prep.
Does it have 2 heads?
No,
Oh.
surprisingly.
Okay. Okay.
It does. No, I couldn't figure that out convincingly enough. And then we
Understandable.
got the normal raids, and
Mhm.
my 6th sense started screaming at me the second a certain character came on screen.
Mm-hmm.
So I have been working on busting that out, hopefully before Savage drops, because my life is going to completely wither away and die
Yes.
because of raid.
Me too.
It's very likely I'm like 50% done. Has everyone here done the normal raids? Is it a spoiler if I say this character's name?
I don't believe so. If anyone in Twitch has not done the normal raids, either mute or come back in like 3 minutes.
It's not even an important character yet. The second he walked up, I knew.
Mhm.
The character's name is Gabro. He had 4 lines
Oh.
of
Yep.
dialogue
My
that had
friend.
absolutely nothing to do with anything, and I was like, before you even opened your mouth, I knew you.
Yep.
On like a level that was like, oh, this is Apollo speaking to me right now. So I have been busting that cosplay out.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm thrilled with how it's coming along.
As for me, I'm finishing up my regulator. It's drying right now, so I will be sanding it and finishing it and putting lights in it today. Very excited.
Let me know how you get the lights in there, because I gotta figure that shit out too, and I am not looking forward to it. I am not the electronics person when it comes to cosplay stuff.
I actually partner. So I'm doing something really silly, and I laser cut out the little rings, and I have this. Anyway, I actually partnered with Polygot, and so we're working on it together to try and figure it out.
All right.
So anyway,
and it's that, and then some few other things.
I will say
later.
I really do want to get to the Arcadian and talk to the Arcadian, because there is a lot to talk about there. We can't do it if we don't finish talking about the end of the MSQ.
Yeah.
So
We really got distracted with Shallow last time.
we did. Absolutely did, especially the cave paintings, which
Yes.
I believe were just... Arden, was it you that posted the cave paintings?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Fish.
Fish, fish, fish.
So I just
One
saw
fish,
that
two
in live.
fish,
I
right
don't know
fish,
if you
blue
heard
fish.
them, but they went, fish?
There it is.
Silas, before someone clips this.
I don't think they'd mind.
Keeping up with Glamour in early game is not that great for me if you don't play with scouring gear. Yeah, leveling, Glamour and leveling do not go together well unless you're very, very meticulous about it. So, like a Yumi. Who's like,
Yeah.
I spent an hour leveling, and now I will spend 2 hours fixing my Glamour.
More like a month.
Fair enough.
I
Me
spend way
too.
too much time caring about what I look like.
Hey, you can't save the world if you're not cute.
You
For
need
real?
just enough time.
It is a struggle, though, since so much stuff is, like, not updated, and then some stuff is. Some pieces look really weird together.
Yeah. But that'll get fixed out eventually, I hope. That's the plan, anyway. So, we get into Solution 9. We got a whole bunch of 9s, a whole bunch of 12s, distracting us from stuff. So, what are our thoughts on this place, on Solution 9?
You know what
It
I,
has-
you know what I've been saying
Okay,
about
we'll get-
Solution
we'll
9
get
ever
to-
since it was released.
We'll get to you, Meowth. So,
You
you'll
have
go
a lot.
last.
There's a lot for you to unpack. So, I liked the invisible walls, the invisible jump pole that I found.
I saw
Didn't
someone
find it till
jumping on
later.
that. I saw someone jumping on that and casting spells, and I was like, "Is that a bug? What is that?"
No. It's literally right by the aetheryte.
Yeah,
It's a feature.
exactly.
It's a feature. I liked it because I love cyberpunk neon technology. It's right up my alley. As for it being in a fantasy setting like this, it's so high tech and so neon punk that it almost doesn't fit, but it's Final Fantasy 14 and has Nier in it, so I don't mind it.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna
But
say the
it's-
neon punk. No, the high tech thing is. I mean, I come here by 8, so I'm like, there's
Yeah.
been high tech FF before.
Yeah.
It teeters. I mean, it teeters on that edge, but it doesn't go
Exactly.
overboard.
It's very cutting edge in a pushing the limit way, and I don't dislike it.
Me neither. Me neither. I love these little interactions and things you come across while wandering around Solution 9. There's actually a little corner in the southeast or southwest of Arcadian with a group of Malalas holding up a Makote. And there's another guy around the same area just kind of sleeping in a dumpster. There's a lot of little things you can find by wandering around Solution 9.
I came
love,
across that guy. I came across that guy and was like, "Hey, that's a real depiction of me." In real.
I love that in every single expansion since Shadowbringers, there has always been an instance of someone getting mugged in one of the hub cities, and it just
Honestly,
cracks me up.
I did not expect a group of Lalafels just to be about to mug someone in an alley.
Really? You didn't expect
I was
that?
gonna say this is just Ul'dah, but with less fanciness.
Yeah. Have you not played this game?
No, because they're just sitting in their little area, and they're all just kind of bent down on their knees, and like it's totally Hood. It is the most Hood thing I've seen in this game.
Yeah, they're little monsters.
But yeah, I love it. When the Arcadian, of course, got turned on, it was even better because it looked just like my graphics card, only vertical.
Right. I think that was intentional.
I think it was, and I love it. It's like I feel like graphics card size is out of control.
Yeah.
they're here for it. What were you saying?
They
Aaron?
feature
Sorry.
Red Bull, of course, too. Drink exactly, AC Gears. Take a chug with a mug and drink rainbows.
Yep.
Although I didn't turn rainbow when I drank Monster, because I switched from Red Bull to Monster because Red Bull just gives you the jitters.
Can I just say
There's also a picture of Red Bull drawn on the side of the gym.
Can I just say how much I appreciated the drink quest and seeing both Granola again and not a sale.
But yeah, I wholly suggest that people go around Solution 9 and see what rooms open up. There's a lot of interesting things that you will find, along with several NPCs that say some interesting things. Like the domiciles, there's at least 2 or 3 rooms that you can go into in the living quarters that you can explore or take pictures in. The government offices have a few interesting areas that you can explore. The entertainment district, obviously, I spoke about. That one's really cool to visit. There's a lot of neat rooms that you can go into and kind of look around in. It's just very fun to just walk around and explore.
On that topic, I do want to touch on the instance where we join up with Sphene during the tour and visit the little boy who has lightning ether sickness.
Yes, I think this is going to become big.
Yeah.
Because it's later revealed that she had that.
Mm-hmm. She did. And it makes me...
This is the key that kind of tied in what shard that she and everyone was from. And it kind of brought up that argument.
You mean we're not gonna just whip out a random Porksy in 7.5 and that'll be the end of it?
Yeah, right. Ta-da, you're fixed.
Oh god, what was I gonna say?
Visions of someone who augmented their soul with a Porksy, and now I'm traumatized by that visual that I just gave myself. I don't want to think about it, actually.
No more Porksies. We fry them and eat them.
No, okay, I didn't go that far. Hello?
Clay. Yummy, delicious clay.
This is great because I am eating bacon right now.
Nice.
Silly
Yeah.
Porksy.
My only regret is that we didn't bring Alphanos Pork Seed alive.
My god.
That thing was hideous.
Hideous.
Yeah, it was a fun thing to bring up because it basically confirms that you can aspect a soul with something too. Like it's a physical
And
affliction.
And it's not it causes problems. Honestly,
Right.
I think so I don't think it's getting ahead quite yet because we already talked some about Electrope, but one of the things I observed was that the electrope converts things away from lightning, so I would think that would make the storms less, but it seems to have made them worse. And I'm just sitting here looking at the electrope, looking at this Levin sickness, and I'm like, something very funky is going on here.
Yeah, because they discovered what they did was the farm. She described it actually in Solution 9. They came across an
Yes.
ore. They didn't know its properties. They didn't know what it was. They just discovered the ore. And it wasn't until the Malalas came later that the Malalas then etched arcane circuitry onto the ore, making its property able to absorb and redirect the lightning.
Exactly. And the thing is, when I first encountered this, I was like, oh boy, I can't wait to find, the pyrope and the pyrotrope and the, hydrotrope, and that's not a thing, it's just lightning, and I'm like, something weird is going on here.
It's very sus.
Sus as hell. But and the fact that everything was getting worse with lightning, yeah, anyway, I'm looking forward to it in the post patches.
I need a
Here's-
drawing of Ultima just throwing thunderstones at this reflection.
Yeah, it's almost evocative of, like, I don't want to say, like, nuclear power, but very much in the way that, like, we use radioactive ore for that, and that's not the intended purpose of the item, and we're just performing
Good
acts
way to
against
put it.
nature in order
That's
to use
what
it.
makes me
That's
sus
kind
about
of you're right. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of the same way that like we're seeing Alexandrians manipulate Electro, because it's like, here is this thing that can do this thing. We're going to use it for something else entirely, and it's totally not going to have consequences for
No.
any reason.
Not at all.
Yeah, the last time someone just accidentally stumbled across some substance, it was auracite, so...
Yeah.
it.
Note to self: leave rocks in the ground where they belong.
Yeah.
And this kind of ties into several theories of mine where it's like that ore was so conveniently placed. It happened
Yes.
after a thunderstorm or a lightning strike where a
Mhm.
farmer went to assess the damage, found an ore, brought it back. Oh, I don't know what this does, but we can have these people just kind of draw into it. Oh, the lightning changes the properties of it. We can manipulate this for our advantage. Suddenly the world fights over this miracle property.
Mm.
And
wonder-
And added to the fact that they brought back corrupted crystal in one of the ether
Yeah.
current quests. But yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and then
I'm
the
just
people
And
imagining
which-
that the farmer was Halmaret now.
Which actually, Neela, now that you mentioned that, the corrupted crystal actually did the same thing, which is very much sus.
But corrupted crystal can be sort of any aspect, and we've only seen one thing with Electrope, and I'm very interested in that fact.
We've only seen one part of Electro because this is how they use them. Because this is how they use
No,
them in a
property-
lightning. In a
The
lightning.
property of Electrope is that it can take electricity, electric ether, and convert it to other kinds of ether. We need a presumably different type of X-trope to start with something else.
Yes, it's being described it as they were getting food in the not Arcadian, but the Nexus Arcade, where she
Like, I
introduced that
no, wait,
lightning plus this equals hot drink, cold drink, sunshine.
I'm basically my question was if this was only lightning Electro can manipulate, or if you basically
Yeah.
take the ore and use a different element, if the process would be similar. Because right now, Electrope sounds awfully a lot like alchemical process, etherochemical process. Basically, you take one element and then you switch the element into something else. Basically,
Yes, but those
basically
processes
alchemy.
those processes are flexible, as far as I recall. Electrope is not.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean that's
Which
that's
is
why.
why it's-
Electrope is very rigid.
Yeah, that's why I don't know if we may get the answer that there are different ores related each to one element, or if Electrope by itself could be possibly be using with other elements, and we have just only not found out. But anyways, that's not something that we're going to get an answer right now.
I think it's something we'll
Here's,
probably.
it's what happened after that when they discovered the Electrope and converted it into their society, they a lot of other nations began to get dependent on Electrope 2 to the point that, well, the resources are running dry, let's fight over it. Oh, we're going to implement it into weapons of war and mass destruction. We're going to fight Alexandria and Lindblom. Lindblom makes a weapon of mass destruction to use against Alexandria, thus creating the Surge War.
Storm Surge. Yeah.
And what's that?
The Storm Surge. Yeah.
Storm Surge. That's right. The Storm Surge. And this is how pretty much the lightning flood starts.
And as you were saying?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's also prudent to note, like, we're not talking about Arcadian today, but there is, like, a whole lot we are about to learn about
Yes.
Electrope thanks
Mhm.
to the raids. So I'm hesitant to do any more speculating on this because we've straight up been told, hey, there's things you don't know because the government has been keeping it from you.
Yep.
Would the
Quite
government
literally.
do that?
Yeah, the government would absolutely do that.
Yeah.
No, Sveen has never told a lie in her life. What are you talking about?
Oh, yeah, never. Never.
That's
Sveen
another.
doesn't lie to you,
Yeah,
she's your friend.
that's another. Yeah, Sphinx not exactly the most reliable narrator
Here's the
out
thing.
there.
Sveen is to a core nice, but nice is different than good, especially when
Mhm.
survival comes on the line.
Hard agree.
Yep.
Mhm.
So-
Also,
but-
are you deliberately avoiding asking me what I think on Solution 9? Or
So, all right.
Well, we were going to go back to the cast and then move on to you, but I'm done with my thing.
now it's the cast and then you. That's fine.
Does anyone else want to add anything on Solution 9 before we turn Meowth loose?
Well, we were talking about like walking around and looking at some of the details. The graffiti asks a
Yes.
few questions of you because there's a lot of it that's like it doesn't make sense for this to be in Solution 9.
I agree. And I do
the
want to talk
most
about that.
obvious example being the anti-blessed graffiti. I don't necessarily
Yeah.
want to say it was anti-Galul Jaja or anti-Bakul Jaja. It very much speaks to Zeralja also having cultural influence over Alexandria. Like, he wasn't just showing up and keeping himself secluded and just kind of using them as a warmonger. It was also a situation where, like, he very clearly had an influence on the people and their society. So it opens up a whole new perspective when you're
Mhm.
talking about Alexandrians, that, like, you cannot just say, oh, they were like awful people, or no, they were victims of Zeralja's awfulness. There is also an element of, hey, this was also his people after a time. It humanizes
Thanks for the
him
follow, Neon.
Yeah, thank you.
in a way that you can't really discard.
Right.
So it adds another layer to the story, and I just wanted to highlight that because it is an incredible depth of character that I think goes missed when it comes to Zeralja.
So I'm actually in game right now. I'm gonna move to the slums, as it were, and we'll start the walk from there. But there is another piece
It's
of
not
graffiti.
the slums, it's the entertainment district.
Whatever.
Red light district? What?
It's the Lalafell the Malala domain of whatever. But there is also graffiti of a succubus from the void there, which
Yes.
I found
Yep.
extremely interesting. Because that means they've had
How do they know
encounters with the
about Void Scent?
Exactly, which means they've had encounters with other shards before that they didn't fuse with.
And that also makes sense because the way that Sveen kind of talks about Alexandria as being out of time and out of place is she's like, oh, we haven't actually like been on the
Oh yes, the guy that kicks the vending machine.
Yeah, it's like they haven't actually necessarily been on the 12th for a while. They've just kind of been hopping from place to place. Who's to say that they
Right.
haven't gone to another shard temporarily and just gone to a different
It's
place?
literally me.
We do know that they've been experimenting on the key. We know that its original
Right.
function was to cut open a pathway, basically, between these shards. So there's nothing to say they didn't pop here or pop there while they were trying to experiment with it. I'm curious to know what we're going to find out about its function and what they've done
You
with it.
know,
Right.
Thinking about it, I wonder if while they were experimenting, they accidentally brought a piece of the 13th to them instead of taking themselves to.
That's also a possibility.
Possible.
The 13th
When
is
you're
also
walking
like,
by the gym, turn to your
Or
right.
even just
there's
open
a
the void
Red
gate.
Bull-
yeah,
There's a Red Bull
that's-
emblem on the gym.
That's also kind of a complex thing too when it comes to the 13th, because it is very much like shattered etherically.
Mhm.
So like it's entirely possible that a landmass from the 13th could go missing and nobody there would bat an eye, because
they
that
wouldn't
is
notice.
something that happens there.
Yep.
So
And
Why
you know,
is there a sticker of stamp here?
so this is interesting here. This one right here, because this
Oh,
we
look at
see, this is the same graffiti we see in the volcano on the giant, I guess, stained glass thing before the room with all the masks.
it is repeated symbology, like we talked about last week, and it is very much something that has been set up, this expansion, to be associated with death, or like passing through the veil, not necessarily just this thing is dead, but like this thing is gone. This thing is an ending of sorts.
Right.
Which is fun because I
Fall.
believe it's outside one of the, like a tarot building. Like if you go inside
yeah.
a tarot reading, and it's like, I wonder what tarot is usually associated with in these contexts.
Nald Thal's emblem is a closed eye, and now we're getting open eye.
Because Nald Thal very much is also, like, he is the god of death, kind of. Because it's
Yeah.
the passing of souls. So the symbology tracks, like, we can retroactively look back and see these things too.
Big electro check.
Yeah, there's a lot of like empty rooms, but you can guess what they're used for.
Right. Can't go upstairs. That sucks.
You can go
Do we
up.
think-
Yeah, no, I don't think you can go
You can jump
any
in.
further either.
Nope. Oh wait, yes.
Yeah, you can. I've done
Alright.
this multiple times.
There we
Well,
go.
what I mean by
Very
any
good.
further is like there's no like door
There's nothing
there
up
or
here, but
yeah.
this is good. I like it.
Do we think the eye is going to be like a play on the Eye of Providence?
Sure, why not?
I don't really want to go into that. If I start to go into that, we're going to be here.
That's
like,
why we're
forever.
saving you for last.
Yes.
Because you're about to explode.
Fair and
You're gonna
true.
you're gonna slam your hands on the table and go, okay, here we go.
Right. So let's see. Here's the gym. Cat's gym.
Does anyone know?
Yeah, there's
if
literally
you
Red Bull on the side.
Mhm.
And they're sponsored by Red Bull.
Oh, never mind. I
It's right
answered
there.
my own question.
What is the constellation Taurus associated with? Yeah.
Taurus. So this is actually amusing because you remember the Evil East Raid series?
Mm-hmm.
Do you recall which is the oversight that starts the whole mess with Vagannan? It's the Duma and it's the Taurus oversight.
Okay.
Taurus is either Mitron, Hello, Eden Ultimate, and the Lucavi associated with Taurus is Chaos, the Walker of the Wheel, which is a reference to Chaos / Garland in Final Fantasy 1, which is the whole thing about the time loop.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So here we have an Ahriman, Void Scent, used to advertise energy drinks. And I love it.
It's cute.
It is cute. I love it. So clearly, the issue with Void Scent isn't that bad, or wasn't that bad. And there's the succubus graffiti.
They were like, here's a funky little guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a little guy.
Does that say bar?
I believe
Yes.
it does. Yes.
does have a
I wanna
ball
go
on
there.
it, too.
Is that a dinosaur?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Yep.
With Gurren Lagann sunglasses.
Well, yes,
Hell yeah.
of
Oh, look,
course.
there's the guy.
There he is. Is he dead? No, he's just
No.
really comfortable.
Sleeping
just-
over a hangover.
It's
Dude is just like, leave me alone. This is comfy.
And I assume that his regulator is buried in the trash, or he might not be wearing one. If he's not wearing one, then he needs to be careful.
Does he have like a interactable name?
He does not.
There is a bar on every
Dang.
street. Solution 9 is amazing.
He does have dialogue though, where he's basically very much hungover and
Yeah.
sleeping it off in the first
And-
soft place that he found.
And this is the most comfortable place he's ever had in his life. Apparently. Just thinking in the alley.
I still find it so funny how similar Solution 9 is to Neptune in Destiny 2.
There it is. It's gone. I still don't know what the Arcadian symbol is.
I do, but it's only a theory.
Yeah,
Okay.
it very
Well.
much is set up like a. We can talk about this when we get to Arcadia.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, fair.
Let's
fair,
not get
fair.
distracted from Solution 9
Yes.
anymore.
But I'm
Alright.
so good at getting distracted.
Me
All right.
too.
So while we're walking around, Meow.
Wait,
Go.
did anyone else have any other comments on Solution 9?
Only that the
Promoting
teleporters
me.
are weird.
Only that the teleporters are weird.
And only that they had to have been inspired by Destiny 2 for this, because Neptune in the expansion before last in Destiny 2, you go to a cyberpunk city on Neptune and all of the residents have been uploaded into the cloud, so you kind of just see vague like outlines of people because they're existing completely digitally.
I was not expecting you to say Destiny 2 and just say Phantasy Star Online.
I mean, yeah, it's very PSO as well, but
'Cause I used to play PSO 2.
yeah. I've been playing it recently.
That's
again.
mildly terrifying. Electro parties.
Mildly.
in
It's
response to
very
electrical
visually
problems.
stimulating.
So my thoughts on Solution 9 are, it really goes to show just how enormous Everkeep is.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely massive.
We're only looking at one of the largest districts because they said that they have multiple floors. One of them is even an industrial sector.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and if you look at it from the outside, gargantuan.
Yeah, for
My
sure.
words.
All right. Anyone else? All right, Meowth. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
go.
You are unleashed. Go forth.
Okay,
Saving
Solution
the best for
9.
last.
Here we go.
Solution 9, when it was first revealed, in fact, I actually didn't. I actually missed the reveal. The only reason I came to know Solution 9 was because Cobb pinged me during FanFest. Meow! Look at that! And I was like, what? And then, of course, he showed me, and I was like, oh, fuck. And
Yeah.
immediately my mind went to, this is academia. This is academia.
It's got a
There's
lot of
no-
academia, yeah.
It does.
Like, I seen, so these months after the ping, as I would call it, it was increasingly, I don't know how to describe it, if amusing or frustrating that people would see Solution 9 and be like, it's Midgard, it's Esther. I admit that there's got a bit of Esther in there, but
It does.
mostly it's like the color and the stuff, and there's a bit of there, yeah, of course. There's a bit of Sanarkand in there as well, yeah. There's the Arcadian seems to be going a bit more into 10, but there's some 10. I'm not an expert in 10, but from what people have told me about 10, then I can recognize some themes woven into Dawntrail.
Well,
But
that's why we have the Arkham.
I've seen also people mentioning this is similar to Insomnia, Fantasy 15.
I don't see it.
Not so
Insomnia is
much.
more of a modern day setting.
But my immediate thought when I saw the neon and all the style of the not this district in particular, more like some other districts of Solution 9, I was like, this is academia. It's not a one-to-one, perhaps, because of course Solution 9 is inspired and designed to be kind of a mix of many things, but you go through academia in 13.2, I mean, I go into this thinking of academia. If you are a 14 player and you decide to play 13.2 right now, you go to academia and you will be reminded of Solution 9. That's how it works. But yes, of course, this was the reason for me to start. The implications were weird to me when Solution 9 was revealed, and I was thinking, this is academia. This is like, so in fact, you know, I I actually came to academia looking for certain Easter eggs, and I realized that two of the advertisements in more like the commercial area, they actually reference Hope and Lightning. and
Yes.
I was like, Squeenix, you're as subtle as ever. Sarcasm.
Subtle as a
No,
hammer.
really. Yeah, so yeah, if you spell subtlety like this, yeah. But
SUTTLE.
no, but really. So when Solution 9, I was we've discussed this, like Cobb and I, when he went through the blind playthrough of the 13 trilogy, and most of 13 so far has been much more on a macro level, in a way that it's part of the lore building, but it's not something that you would perhaps, if not educated in how in the trilogy, perhaps you wouldn't recognize. Then again, after Dawntrail, I keep seeing people that even when it's in their face, they wouldn't recognize it. So I suppose it's kind of the result is kind of like the same, because yeah. Anyway, so when I came to pre-expansion speculation with all my stupid flowcharts and drive and stuff, I didn't even. So I considered themes from 13 happening, mostly related to a Meracidian expansion, because, well, Alag and Australia, basically, Rampels, all that stuff. That's basically as far as as far as I was willing to think they would go into Final Fantasy 13 or the trilogy, aside from certain more macro level stuff. So I basically wrote a couple notes on Solution 9, resembling academia and all that, and not knowing what I should expect about that. And then comes Dawntrail, and I was like, okay, we are going full into Fabula Crystallis now. That's I knew Solution 9 was going to be academia, of course. Like it was like in the face, but I didn't expect. What I didn't expect was not just a reference, but going full into that. If it makes any sense.
Yeah, if you look at academia, especially academia 500, it's very similar.
It's perhaps not that similar to people because, I mean, academia there's a lot of academia 500EF, the Tetris version, like you see the cubes of Electrope here. It's so this is interesting because academia 500EF is the chaos corrupted academia, in which everything is falling apart due to the influx of chaos from the unseen realm. and the color scheme and the tones resemble more Academia 400 AF, which is the bad Academia timeline,
Right.
in which this is a bit of like spoilers, but basically it becomes a sort of an apocalypse city of sorts, because the good timeline Academia is largely white. So, but Solution
Yeah.
9 is lots. Is mostly black and.
Did someone say color inversion?
purple.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of, yeah. So it's kind of it's an interesting take on that, and I don't really know how to explain the implications of using Academia as. Also, there's another thing, of course. Academia is much more. If you think Solution 9 is big, because it's big, the scale of Academia, we don't really get to see a lot of Academia in game, actually. But Academia is the 500th floor of a city, and it's still massive. So
I just remember the, like, I don't want to call it jumping puzzle portion of it, but it was kind of a jumping puzzle portion.
it was.
I'm just like, oh my god, this place is so big.
It is. So Academia is massive, and it's also built like in the form of it's built in like in levels, so it's not expansively built, but upwards basically. Which actually reminds me of the concept of the Reader and a Lighthouse, but yeah, and that. What more?
So I would actually equate Amarant more to Xanarkin than I would Solution 9.
Same.
There are similar elements, but Xanarkin was more rooted in magic than technology.
I will say visually, like, it does have that same, like, towering buildings, grand lights and all that stuff, but I would give it a very superficial resemblance.
Yeah.
I think that the resemblance with Academia definitely goes a little deeper.
I agree. Especially
And superficial is still important, don't get me wrong.
Especially the darkness that Academia had kind of hidden just below the surface, which, I mean, if you really sit down and think about the regulators and how this place operates, it's kind of horrifying.
Kinda.
And 14 does this a lot.
I think it's
where-
kind of. They've opted into this.
Yeah, they do this a lot where they kind of present something and they're like, yeah, this is like Ilmeg. Ilmeg is a perfect example of this. Yeah, we'll go there, make friends with the fairies.
It's so pretty.
Everything's great. It's beautiful there. And then you just scratch a little bit beneath the surface, and this place is horrifying. It's an absolute nightmare. And the only reason that we're not exposed to this nightmare is because we're the Warrior of Light. But if you were any other person, like, you would be dead. Because, remember, they tried to kill you and turn you into one of them pretty early on. So,
Yeah.
that's just, you know, people tend to forget the darkness that these places kind of inherently have built into them because they get distracted by the superficial.
The shinies.
Yes, exactly.
Academia, also I have to say, the color scheme of Academia does not inspire me any sort of, like, you see the blue and the magenta there and I'm like, I see Ultima you know, and it's like and I'm like
Upset
So-
mouth noises.
It's creepy, and it makes me with all the thing about preservation and all that stuff, which is another different can of worms. But it makes me think, with the color scheme of Academia, the themes, well, the color scheme, the inverse color scheme to Academia, the themes, the vibe, the whole thing. It makes me think of a dark path for for like imagine those who have played or know about 13.2. Imagine like academia but evil. If you know the accomplishments that the Academy and Hope actually made, having Hope as a supervillain isn't exactly the most comforting thing you can think of.
What could go wrong? We want him on our side.
You want him on your side because you know how bad things could be if
I
he
wanna
were
win.
not in your side. We're talking the man who played chess with God and won. That's the kind of person we're talking about. So yeah. Thinking about the potential of using academia or the Academy as an enemy is downright chilling to me, knowing the whole context. So yeah.
That do sound kind of familiar, don't it?
And I just realized my microphone was off. So-
No, I can hear you.
Oh, you could hear me, but the stream couldn't hear me.
Oh no.
You hear
Heartbreaking.
me?
Yeah.
I think my mic fucked up. Okay. I was gonna say, preservation definitely is where the 9 influence comes back in as well, because the whole thing in 9 is like, we're going to store souls and give them new bodies, and we're just going to keep them in stasis, living this weird half-life on this planet that exists kind of in between spaces right now.
Yep.
It very much comes across that way as well, but that's
Yeah.
also kind of the nature of like, this is not exactly a new concept in
Right.
Final Fantasy games
Nope.
either, but the way that they used it this time around was a really cool blend of 9 with 13 and 11 stuff.
Yeah.
And 12.
And
And
12.
and
I
when I
mean,
was saying-
12 is an underlying thing. Just assume that it's a given for me at any point in time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
12's going to be big moving into the future. They're setting up a lot that's rooted in 12, which is interesting because before it was mostly 13 that they kind of built the framework of the world on. So it's really interesting to see so much from 12 now starting to come to the forefront. And I think people get distracted by Alexandria and all the 9 influence because it's very in your face. It's very right there, and they tend to miss a lot of the more subtle things that come from the other Final Fantasy games that have a lot of implications about what's to come.
It's an appeal to nostalgia, and it works. It basically distracts the fan base with a really well loved, for good reasons, Final Fantasy title, which is 9. It's great, great title. So I was happy nonetheless. You know, this expansion gives me 12, gives me 13, and gives me 9. That's basically my top number of Final Fantasy titles. So I was over the moon. But they basically use the 9 package to appeal to the player base nostalgia, but in fact it's not. I mean, there's a lot of 9, of course, but it's not so much as people think it is.
Right.
Alexandria as we explore is not so much. Of course, we have the 9 Alexandria in the dungeon and in the remains of the city in Heritage Found, but Alexandria as we explore Alexandria in Everkeep, that's 13.2. And it makes sense because the city of Academia was basically Hope's pet project, and his eidolon his eidolon, Esper, whatever, is Alexander. So you're basically mixing 2 characters here, with strong ties with Alexander.
Because that's basically what Alexandria is too.
Yep.
Spoilers for 9. Alexandria, the city, is also Alexander, the summit.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
I haven't even
So-
played 9, and I knew that. So
Yeah,
like
it's
not
pretty
a secret.
iconic. Yeah.
Speaking of Alexandria, are we going to mention the questline with the stupid black cat? Because I freaked
That
out.
is not a stupid quest line. That's the best quest line ever.
Yeah, that is the best quest line.
I love that quest
The
line.
best, most sus of quest lines.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I was sent to chase a cat, and then I see fucking Shanoa, and I was
You-
like, no, no.
I think this one's real.
And then you pick it up and you get it, and it's like any similarity to any cat you may have seen in the past is purely coincidental.
Like, are you sure about that? Are you sure about that?
Well, of course, that's why they needed to say it, right?
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
and you did see it in the past.
Mm-hmm.
In the past, yes.
So AC Gears and Arms. I went through the cutscenes of the Alexander questline couple days ago because I wanted to reread the thing with the new context, and it's there's a lot of stuff there, and though Alexander as the concept was not conceived was conceived by one of the tribes of the steppe, the Hotko,
Mhm.
which is from which Mide and her
Who were wiped out,
And
by the
Diane,
way.
yeah.
were wiped by, I don't know, I think it was the Lothar.
It was the Dotharl, yeah.
Okay, so basically, it's more stuff that kind of connects stuff with the steppe, and I'm really tempted to go there again and start to shake lizards.
Please do not
Has-
shake the lizards.
has-
Spoken as a lizard.
Has anyone checked Grandma?
But
Does
that's
she
how
have
the
it-
information comes out.
Has anyone checked Grandma? Does she have anything
I
new to
offered
say?
freely.
I don't think so. I'm going there to double check right now, though.
Okay.
But yeah.
I think people were saying it's the same, but I haven't checked myself, so it's good to double check.
Yeah, I think I checked after MSQ, but not after Arcadian, so...
I love that that's
to
just
be
a thing.
completely Sure.
It's like, what's Grandma say? Does she have new
Yeah.
text? Is she being cryptic again? What does she know?
Yeah, what does she know? That's the really...
Does she know what she knows, or is she just saying what comes to mind?
Fundamentally the same thing? Question mark.
True.
So
Well, I mean, like a vessel for prophecy versus
right.
knowing, but generally, the one, it doesn't matter how much we shake the lizard, the truths are not gonna fall out.
Yeah, that's true.
unless we shake very, very hard.
Please do not shake the lizard. I offer my truths freely. Why must you do this to me?
Because it's fun. So I lost my train of thought. Anyway. The soul
So
shit.
That's
So it's kind of horrifying when we're in this tour when we see people basically going to the soul store and just buying extra souls.
I it was really so thank you. Apparently I'm not the only one who thinks that the electro thing resembles the
Yes.
thing in the steppe.
Absolutely.
I'm not mad.
No,
Thank
you're
you.
not. You're not.
No,
And I
that's
almost
a pretty regular thing I've
Yeah.
seen on Twitter.
yeah. Which makes me wonder, is Electrope on the source? Was it just all used already? Like, I don't know. And
Is
if
there
not,
less because they aren't priming it for rejoining? I mean, what?
yeah, and is it something that just hasn't been found on the source yet? Which is kind of a horrifying thought, because then, we'd get something like Solution 9 on the source natively.
I'm just sitting here like, either Electrope is sus, and there's only one variety of it because it's intended to tip things further and further lightningward, Or is there hydrotrope? Is there, aerotrope? Are there other kinds we can find?
Right.
There is also
And
the
why can't we find them
possibility
on the other
that
one?
this
Yeah, go
is
ahead.
one of those. There is also the possibility that this is one of those things where, like, we're not writing in the rock, and we're not like touching it. It could be that on the source it was just identified as this thing that's like, oh yeah, that's dangerous, so we don't go there.
Right.
Because that is something that reasonable people make decisions about sometimes.
Well, you mean the cancer rocks, maybe we should leave them in the ground?
Yeah, leave the cancer rocks in the ground, Neela.
But it's so heavy.
Then don't pick it up.
No, it feels reminds me of a post I saw screen capped from like Reddit or something. Someone had bought a bunch of minerals from somebody, and one of them was like in this leaden container. He pulls it out, and he's like, "Does anyone know what this is? It's super heavy." And I'm just sitting here like dragging my hands down my face. I'm like, "Put it back."
No, I saw that. Do you know what the resolution of that was?
I think the guy got off lucky, but I don't remember the specifics.
No, he had to go through like decontamination, and they had to condemn the building because it ended up being
not
an
surprised.
incredibly radioactive isotope.
Oh my god.
Because that's what freaking happens when you play with cancer rocks.
And he had been sleeping next to it in
Jesus.
an
Oh god, I didn't know that.
unleaded, like rock cabinet for years, and he was just showing off his rock collection. And the right person
Someone was
happened
like,
to be
"You
like,
killing
"Hi."
yourself."
Yeah, the right person was like, "How are you not dead?"
Yeah, it's like, why is this rock warm?
Yeah,
This is
no,
me,
that was
this
part
is
of
me
it.
at Solution 9, though. I'm like, how are y'all not dead?
Yeah,
This is
that was-
interesting. I want to study it.
that was part of it. He was like, "Oh yeah, I left the rock alone, and suddenly I wasn't sick anymore." And I'm like, "Okay, that's the reasonable response that some people have, but there." Now I'm just thinking about somebody on the source who found Electrope and was like, "Oh, this is a cool-looking rock. I wonder why it feels sick and charged with lightning all the time."
Jesus.
It seems to make some of our kids just paralyzed. Huh, I bet we could use it.
Aw,
I'm
What
sure
if
that
they
didn't
feel the
happen
same
right
way
away,
about
but I'm being a
Foresight?
smartass.
right.
Surely. If they're using Electrope like this, they're not going to balk at Orsite.
Man,
Which
why does
isn't
it make me
great.
feel funny and make me think dark thoughts?
Yeah, my thought
I'm
is,
pure of heart, it'll be fine.
if it's not on the source, then is it something that was brought into being by Orsite?
Mm-hmm.
Here's the other thing, there's so much of it if you go to like the Electrope strike.
Yeah.
Like how could people on the source miss this? I don't see
Exactly.
that happening.
Because
Well-
they have sophisticated mining operations.
It could also be the right people aren't at the right place to discover it, because
Yeah, it could be that.
Taral is a great example of like Eorzeans have rarely been here, and if Eorzeans do come here, they usually stay instead of like going back. It's rare for that to be a thing. There could also be a whole other continent where this is also true for both Tarali and Eorzeans, where like they have this thing and they don't know what to do with it,
Right.
and Eorzeans don't know it exists, so they haven't done anything with it.
Morning, Geo. Zoelia says in chat, Electrope isn't much without the Malala circuits inscribed in it. Yes, but the only reason the Malala were so good at it was because they were from the source. So really, anyone from the source who has any aptitude in arcane arts could do it.
We have a
Yeah.
whole guild for those people, yeah.
Yeah, it's commonplace in Limbs Elemental.
Like, I think on the first is a perfect example of this during the role quests, when they're breeding generations of mages to have enough power to open a portal to the void. Meanwhile, on the source, any idiot can pretty much do it.
You can just accidentally avoid scent, yeah.
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 Oops,
So-
got a little too emotional.
Yeah,
Void
right.
scent.
Damn it, not again.
No, but the whole stole stuff in. So I was already screaming in before reaching Solution 9 when the whole thing with the regulators happens and they erase the memory of Namika, and I was like, I lost it at that point. I was like, no. I was like, hello, Type 0, my old friend.
So my
And
my thoughts on living memory, we can talk about living memory, is it was a very emotional experience for me, But I feel the same about Living Memory as I did about Ultima Thule, where they are not actually alive. They are very much. It's hard because it's very much reminiscent of familiars in the ancient world.
You know, I was gonna say personhood, but no life. That's a
Yeah.
good way to put it.
So it's an ethereal construct with memory but no soul.
Mm-hmm.
So
And no actual like agency or ability to do things.
correct.
They can't walk free. They can't walk free. They have to be like supported as a simulation.
Right.
That part reminds me of Xanarkand. I wouldn't give Solution 9 the Xanarkand label, but Living
are
Memory,
elements of-
yeah. Well, it reminds me of the Faith. We talked about this, I think, but yeah, it really reminds me of the Faith.
Well, now that we've opened up Living Memory,
Yeah, I was about to say, is this my turn to be insane?
yes, let's go.
I believe it is.
So Arden, I will ask for your support on this one because
Okay.
explaining to Leah to people who have not played Final Fantasy XI is so difficult.
Yeah, I agree.
Because this is one of those things where I might recommend. It's like an hour and 15 minutes cutscene movie on YouTube about Rise of the Zealot. It's the first expansion to Final Fantasy XI, where essentially the premise is that there was this ancient civilization that was essentially sundered through evolution, but its society was split amongst different crystals. Not necessarily different shards, but like the concept of souls was split amongst different crystals. And only a few of these original Zealot remained who were not split. But they ended up using these soul crystals as a power source in order to open what was functionally a gate to the gods. It looked like a city, but at the end of the day, it was kind of an amplifier for souls. It was supposed to be analogous to heaven, but actually being hell. Am I roughly explaining this on a meta level, without having to go too far into the story so far?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So you do end up opening this gate to go to Leah, and of course you stop the evil plan, right? But what it essentially was is if you managed to turn Leah on, you would be ending the concept of life because cognition would not work the same on Vana'diel. Like, you would not think the same way. This was mostly going to impact icons like Bahamut and Carbuncle and Fenrir. They would no longer exist, they would simply be beasts. And the idea was that similar things would happen to people. They would cease to exist having an identity because it wouldn't matter anymore, because they were dead even though they weren't.
That sounds a lot like Persona 5.
Yeah, it's except 11
Wake
came
up,
out.
get out
Yeah.
there!
Yeah, it is very much that, but it is like this shit happened in what, 2001, 2002?
I
Like,
meant it in
yeah.
a good way.
Yeah. No, it is. I also love Persona 5.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's just I emphasize the date because this is something that we see a lot of this kind of stuff in video games these days, but like in the early 2000s, not to this degree.
Yeah.
It's really fascinating. So when you go into Living Memory, a city that is not a city, filled with those who are alive but not, it is painted as an endless heaven but is actually an endless hell. It is an abomination to everything that we understand life to be, but at the same time it is a kind of life that we cannot recognize. It puts us kind of in the seat of an Ascian, where we're looking at this and
Kind
going,
of,
oh,
no, Aeneas.
It
I
does.
directly.
It's
we
I-
become the Asian.
I love that comparison so
Right.
much. Keep going. Keep cooking.
that's, yeah, okay, I'm getting there. That wasn't even the central thesis yet. It does put us there. The reason that I say kind of is because it's also putting you in the seat of the Zealot, where you so desperately want to call it out, and you were actively doing it. Like, you were explicitly being told that this is what is happening, and to have to put an end to this thing that you have just discovered and will never fully comprehend is the most quintessential Final Fantasy XI thing that they could have done. And I feel very much about this the same way that you do about 13, Meowth, I'd imagine, because nobody has played this fucking game. And if they
Yeah.
do, if they have, then they've either skipped these cutscenes because getting to them is incredibly difficult. Getting through them is incredibly difficult. Zealart is actually Zealart
Yes,
Hermathia.
I have a question though. Quick
Yes.
question. The eye we've seen in Solution 9, in the neons. Do you think it looks similar to Elnarsh's eye? The thing
Yeah,
with
I was gonna get there. Okay. He's literally staring down at me right now because I managed to get that JP exclusive like portrait of the brothers that Nomura drew a few months ago. He's staring down at me now. The quintessential part of all of this is the character that they have actively been quoting through all of Dawntrail about the visions of a city, of an endless paradise where people cannot die, where people cannot age, where they indeed live as gods. That's taken directly from Ealdanarsh's speech as he betrays his brother for the sake of this city that does not exist, because he wholeheartedly believes that it will be the return to greatness. He thinks it's going to be this good thing. Ealdanarsh very much... I don't know if it's true to say he plays the role of Sveen or vice versa, but they mirror each other so perfectly. Ealdanarsh, the reason Meowth brought up the eye is because he wears an eye patch over his left eye the entirety of the game. And when you view him without the eye patch for the first time, it is very much the moment of his death, because to reveal that eye was to reveal the actual doom of his people. Like, it was the final death knell for the Zealart. So to go to living memory and be the eye that was staring down at this, recording its final moments, and being the herald of its death at the same time. Oh, I was losing my mind. It's odd to say I'm happy about such a horrible, fucked up situation, but to get to
It's so interesting though.
Yeah.
experience it narratively, it was euphoric in a way that I am having such a hard time putting to words, but I hope that my explanation of this is at least coming across in a way that's coherent.
And yes,
Yeah.
I would highly recommend for you to watch the cutscenes for the City Opera Omnia, because Elnarshe and Hope have an entire arc in Act 3 of the game, and there's a lot. They linked a lot of Elnarsh's or Elnarsh character with Hope, and
I'm hearing that based on your 13 stuff. So what we need to do is basically trade hyperfixations.
Let me show you an artwork I actually did for that arc, and one of the skill sets for Hope. I'm not showing the rest of, but I am sure you will like that. You will like it. Link it to you.
Oh, I do love that, actually. That's so funny too, because I very much have an archetype of characters that I adore. And everyone has told me that when I get into 13, Hope is definitely going to be the one for me. So I'm very much looking forward to playing.
I just did not expect to like him at all. I went into it, I was like, I'm going to hate this character, and he was my favorite character by the end of the game. Like,
yeah. So, but there's my thing on 11. It's so hard to explain. 11 is such a complex game, and this is such a nod that, like, it's so easy to miss, and it made me so happy. It was so well done.
So you brought something about the cognition of the world and how it would change everything about how people understand or see the world. And so this is what you will allow me a quick theory moment.
Mm-hmm.
I think, because I've been pondering about again Fabula Nova Crystallis and 13 and stuff, context, and you say in 11 they didn't want to change the cognition of the world, but here I'm thinking, what if the ultimate goal of something or someone is to change said cognition of the world, like
That-
to erase the past and become and make a new history.
And that kind of falls into themes that we've already seen, at least meta-narratively in 14. A great example being Heidelin kind of obfuscating the truth of her origins
Yes.
throughout the game, and just the way that history is essentially written by the victors, right? But on like an ether physics level, that does also tie into all the Ultima stuff that we've been talking about, because that is kind of what that field of science is affected by.
Well, with recent discoveries of the crew, the thing with Haydn and Ultima is an interesting
Do
situation.
you want to
right
say about the Myths of the Realm thing?
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
I don't know.
Do it,
I don't know.
do it, because that was a bombshell I was not expecting, and it just kind of blows open this like wackadoo
I mean,
theory we
unless
had.
they're getting lazy, that's
No,
Huh.
no,
That is
no,
not
no, no, no.
that is not something
No.
you reuse.
No.
So tell everybody what it is.
Me?
Yes. Because I'm
unless you
digging
want me
through
to,
the Discord. I'm
'cause I
gonna
will too.
throw it up on stream once I find it.
I would say I would leave a Yumi to do it. All I will say is that this happened by absolute complete chance. I was
I was
about
gonna say, yeah.
I think I missed this conversation.
Oh, this is a good one.
So Meowth was in Myths of the Realm the other night doing Thalea, and she was waiting on the people to watch the cutscenes and begin. So moving her camera around, she looked to the floor. Well, what she found was an interesting design.
From Savage.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's one way to put it.
The design, for those that did P12S, matched that of the design on the floor. 1 for 1.
Yeah. Arden, I
It was
believe you made the
exact.
side by side. I'm looking for it.
I did too, and it was exact.
Yeah.
It wasn't similar. It was the same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
So the
compared
background
like
to P12S matched that of the floor on Thalea.
Which
At
is
least where
freaking
you start.
weird.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. I mean, that does track given everything that we know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
It's unfortunately, this does not surprise me whatsoever.
Like I said, I want to say it's laziness, but if they used a 1 for 1 shot for shot,
That's
I
intentional.
kind of have to go the other way on
And
this.
it's just chilling on the floor. At what was the starting area, Mouth?
Yeah,
Yes,
it was
is
the
it-
starting
is it-
area.
That's not a
Is there-
place that you have to put a slightly glowy sigil on the floor. It's not required. You know.
no, and it's not a place that the players are necessarily looking at the floor, which is
Mm-hmm.
extra sneaky.
Mm-hmm.
That's
So-
also fascinating given the prevalence of eye symbology on Pallas Athena as well.
Oh, there.
There's so much ice there. It's freaky.
This is just gonna be my my rabbit hole is the eyes. Look at the eyes.
Now you understand my hyperfixation on Ultima.
The thing,
Yeah,
the
there's
thing,
the picture that Arden made.
the thing, Aeneas, I can't tell you exactly why the eyes unnerve me so much because I would be spoiling big times of the 13th trilogy to you.
I don't
True.
I don't believe in
Believe it.
spoilers, so that's irrelevant for me. Don't hold back on my account. So.
No. 13th trilogy has to be played blind at least once. I insisted this on Cobb, and this is one of the reasons 13-2's ending hit the way it did.
Yeah,
I regret to inform you, I already know the plot. I just don't know the specific details.
Ugh.
I thought I knew the plot too.
Absolutely fascinating shit, but it makes complete sense
It
given
absolutely
what we
does.
already know about the 12, because that's been a train that I've been on for a hot. Cobb can attest to this.
Mhm.
That's been a train I've been on for a hot fucking minute.
Yep. And I'm glad that there's actually now corroborating evidence for that now.
Mhm.
And I
People can stop telling me I'm making baseless accusations. That there's evidence. You
Yeah.
just need to pay attention.
yes, exactly.
People
No
really
one
will
pays
be like,
attention to
doesn't pay
Evilly's
attention.
dialogue. What
There's
are you
no
talking
evidence.
about?
Yeah,
No,
pretty
no.
much.
No, the moment I saw this in Thalea and we compared it, like, no, this is the exact same thing.
I was gonna
It
say,
was,
Meowth did a rerun of the Evilly's dialogue, and she hasn't shut up about it. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
you have to do it and pay attention because it's all there.
Yeah.
no,
yeah.
the thing that my rerun of Thivalis was not so much that I didn't pay attention to it. I run that quest line a number of times because elders, But
Right.
the reason I went through the Evilist raids again was to read the Evilist raids in Dawntrail context, like in a macro level. I think in macro level. I think
Right.
on meta narrative level. So this is one of the reasons people may think it's weird to talk lore with me, because I'm not usually talking about what's happening in the moment, which I kind of leave that to you guys. You do that much better than I do, and I'm thinking ahead in the sense of how this will translate in the future narrative, because this is something that 14 does a lot, and it's straight taken from the style of narrative line returns. So, but yeah, people
Thank
are
you
asking
for-
us to
yeah,
show the thing.
Thank you for putting it in live chat. I'm gonna switch over to it right now.
It was a complete accident. I just happened to be groaning, like I didn't want to run Thalea, and I was like, oh. And I happened to move the camera, and I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Now you suddenly
Aw.
very much want to run Leia.
So yeah, that's not accidental.
It's not similar. It's identical.
Yeah.
I stared at that freaking thing a lot before we finally cleared, and I was
Same.
like, no.
Like my side by side is just slightly off, just by nature of the background and the floor being at different angles in the screenshot. But
But you
it
can
is, like,
tell.
straight up, yeah, identical.
Yeah, it's not similar. And
It's
then the
fascinating.
rainbows.
Yeah.
Minus the rainbows. Yeah.
That's another Final Fantasy XI thing, but we don't have time for the rainbow conversation right now. I can't believe I have to say that, but we don't have time for the rainbow lore conversation right now.
Don't worry, the 11 episode is coming, and we can talk all about rainbows then.
Frothing at the mouth.
Doesn't have rainbows anything to do with Phoenix in 11?
Sort of, not really. That kind of goes into, like, what is an icon in 11.
Okay.
Yeah, which the Phoenix is by also not really. We don't have time for the rainbow conversation right now.
That's gonna be like the theme. We don't have time for the rainbow conversation.
Yeah.
I need to get art drawn of me doing that. That's fucking funny. Oh god, what was I gonna say? It's one thing that we can also interpret with the shape here that I'm wondering is that it could just be like an ether physical thing. Like, this is just a good shape for soul stuff because it's got like points and stuff on it. It's a good shape for storing things because shapes have meaning. I'm coming up with a whole bunch of banger quotes today, such as shapes have meaning.
So
You can tell I didn't drink coffee before this episode.
that's your mistake. So yeah, people were asking where this is.
Is the
It's-
exact point when you
The
start?
answer is it's the beginning of Thalia and the savage transformation of the final floor of Pandemonium, the most recent raid until they release the new ones. Savage Raid.
Yep.
Please go perceive Pallas Athena,
Yes.
my number one enemy.
And despair.
And despair.
Because she has already perceived you.
My god. It's true though.
She has her eyes on you.
Do you ever think
All
about
of them.
the fact? Not. Do you ever think about the fact that Athena's been inside the heart of Sabik and was just watching everything happen? Like,
Oh,
she
yeah.
probably knows you more intimately than some of the Scions do.
For sure.
Yeah.
I would say another
I-
entity knows us more, but
Yeah,
she's
right.
been around forever.
True, she has been the vessel through which we have been perceived.
Yes.
Only slightly.
She's been
terrifying.
around since even before Pandemonium, so
Yeah. My cats say hello.
Hi, kitty.
Hello to the cats.
So yeah, that's. Oof. It's all connected, and it's very obvious how far back the seeds to this go. It's kind of awesome to see, even back to ARR. There's tie-ins to where this is going. Makes me very happy.
but yeah, going back to the what was it? Were we on the Orside conversation, or were we on
Living memory.
Yeah.
Living Memory? Yeah.
I would like to go a bit into Robert Stainer.
Yeah. Otis.
Otis, yeah, Otis. I love the introduction. The moment it said Rusty Soldier, I was like, "This is Steiner." And it's through him that we learn about the Endless. He explains the whole thing, and basically, I got reading through the servers is actually really it's a trip, and I recall that one in particular, having a Yumi ping me like, yeah, Otis, Otis, you were talking about Gestalt and replicants, and I was like, I know.
Yes, I'm a dear fan.
Yeah.
Hello.
I had no idea.
And I'm a Drakengard fan.
This is why we have those
That's
weird
over.
conversations. This is why Meowth and I are used to the whole like multiverse thing, because the Taroverse is so convoluted.
Oh yeah.
Morroverse. I don't think I've ever heard it referred to as that.
Sounds
Thanks
The
for
delicious.
Taroverse? Oh yeah.
It sounds
no.
delicious.
Thanks for reminding me that I have taro boba in the refrigerator.
Oh, lucky.
Mm.
I love Taro.
So one thing I found really that I actually had written in my stupid flowchart is the whole thing. You know, the part where Zoralgia overrides Otis's command, directive, whatever, and we are forced to fight Otis, and Sphene calls out to Otis. She remembers. She reminds him who she is and who he is, and that's when Otis breaks free from mind control or whatever you want to call it, and goes back to aiding us, and that's one to one to something that happens in Final Fantasy 13. Well, the last game, not the first one, but yeah. And second, the fact that to me it proves a point, and it's that remembrance is the key to get someone back when they are lost themselves. You need someone. You need someone that remembers you to bring to. It's like the same thing with Zoralja before the trial, when he's lost because of all the souls he's absorbed, and Lamat reminds Zoralja of who he is and who she is and why she's here, and that snaps Zoralja back into himself, and this is loaded.
That's
say
so
the
good.
least.
That's so good too, because it is very much a narrative parallel to the like established way that the world works that they've set up in Dawntrail. It's very much a sense of, yeah, this is kind of how souls work, like on an etheric level, but it's also important to remember that for your personhood and your relationships. It puts equal emphasis on building that kind of relationship with the
The,
people around you.
the thing is that this is also rooted in a core system of Fabula Nova Crystallis and souls. Cobb, you know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about, and Neela,
Yeah.
you too. But if you want me to explain a bit how it works, or do you guys want to do it, and so I don't?
You go ahead.
Okay. So basically, the souls in Fabula Nova Crystallis, say 13 if you want, the 13th verse. They are the souls are basically made from, well, soul energy, life force, whatever you want to call it, and then there's something that's unique to humans, that it's the spirit, and it's a wisp of chaos, of entropy inside everyone's soul, and that's the source of it's the source of many of the it's basically described in game as it's like a paradox effect happening inside the human hearts constantly, uh, because of the constant contradiction between emotions, you know. But it's also this wisp of chaos is also because all the souls return to the sea of chaos after they die, and they returned to to basically by the goddess of death, Etro, basically sends the souls back into the real into the physical realm after they have been cleansed into the sea of chaos. But the spirit endures. So there's how this whole thing works. There's like a network of kind of like a collective unconscious of mankind that binds past, present, and future together in a sense, and keeps history together, because the living act as custodians for the memory of the dead. And so basically, it's because of the living and their memories that the dead have the chance to go back to go back to reincarnate into reincarnation, to find their way back into the realm of the living. Because if a soul is forgotten, so if the living forgot about someone who's dead entirely, the soul is untethered from this network, and the soul ceases to exist. It dissolves and it can't sustain itself. But if a soul is destroyed, as someone who is basically, well, this soul is destroyed, then the living to forget about this person. This person existed entirely. So it works both ways. And that's the real thing that worries me happening in the coming arc of Dawntrail. Like someone trying to get away from the past by destroying the souls of the dead, and or in by or wiping the memories of the living, so the dead would find no way back into life again. Because this is something that has been tried in 13, and it's really fucked up.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
so,
that's pretty much what Medion did, and that's why I was so repulsed by Medion, because Medion destroyed the souls, so there was no chance for people to reincarnate. That to me was abhorrent. And I'm just thinking now that the memories of all of these people who went to living memory have been stripped from the living, and now that we've destroyed living memory, there's no memory that these people ever existed. Like no one knows who they are, and it's really sad because now there's no
the only keepers of their memories are us, because we went in there.
right, which is basically the same trail of destruction we've been carving through everything that we go through. Is we are the sole keepers of memory about the ancients. We are the sole inheritors of that legacy, and now we're inheritors of this other legacy, and it just makes me wonder, when does it get to be too much?
Yeah, and that's kind of the critical point in how I personally think the game is going to end. But it also kind of goes back to the whole theme that was introduced when we were originally talking with the Akoi, is that like at some point your memory of a person becomes the thing that outlives them. So to take that away on like, hey, they're not in the live stream, but also you cannot remember them. Anyone who's ever cared about these people cannot remember them. It is an extra level of gravitas that is subconsciously implanted into you, and we're like kind of giving word to it now, but it is very much a burden that
Yeah.
we are continuing to be asked to bear. And we talked a lot in the last episode about the legacy that Emmett Selk left us, and it wasn't just one of adventure of cleaning up past messes, of continuing to do what we're doing. It's also like, hey, you also have the burden of an Asian, not just a convocation member. You are going to be at some point the only person who knows the truth, and that is going to break you. What that means for you personally, you have to decide, but it's a good touch, if a heartbreaking one.
In a sense, you can also tie the whole thing about being the keepers of the legacy of those who have been basically wiped out from existence. If in living memory we take the part of the ASEAN, I could see this also. So living memory made something clear to me, at least. I don't know if for you guys as well, but there's this. I suppose it hits different for every player, but to me it hit like, I'm killing these people that may not seem like people. They are actually facsimiles of people, but they are a form of life that perhaps I don't understand. But you see them vanish, and it's like, and I did this, and you tell yourself it's for the greater good because I have to defend my people because Sphin is a threat. But in order to get to Sphin, you have to destroy basically all of these people, and they have not done anything to you personally, but they're basically an
They aren't
obstacle
people,
to
they're
your...
constructs. Sorry. I'm just being a smartass.
I'm a little torn on that myself.
They don't have agency.
No.
I'm not telling you that this is how it is or how it's not. I'm telling you the vibe that I personally get from that. And to me, it feels like, in that moment, I felt like in Emmett Selk's shoes. Like, is it correct what I'm doing? Is it not? In the end, you move forward and do this because it's your people or them, and you decide to just not think about. It's like there, you convince yourself it's not real life. But I suppose it varies from different people, and I think that's the key. That I think that's where the whole thing is. That's when the moral conundrums happen, and some people would say it's not even worth shedding a tear, which actually they did quote that, and I was like, that's exactly the wording of Themis in Pandemonium when you have to fight him in when he's recreated by Athena. Like, that's an interesting reference to make there. But yeah, and I also think it was to me it was kind of like the confirmation that it was the whole thing about the shards and all that stuff. It really made did a number on Emmett Selk. Like, he would have tried to convince himself, but we know that he didn't really work. And also, I had to wonder by parallels if by going into living memory and acting as witnesses and memories and keepers of these people who no one's going to remember them because they're basically gone. I wonder if Emmett Selk was also carrying the burden onto himself of all these people from the shards that pass away and you have to keep a due to the dead, if it makes sense. I don't know.
I doubt he did. Honestly, I don't
That's
think
fair. That's fair.
he didn't consider them alive or really worth remembering.
Hello.
But hey, we hear you.
Yo.
I'm
Hello.
back.
Welcome back. But
I
Welcome
got
back.
sundered for my thoughts, apparently. Like, Aeneas knows too much. Smite them.
Silence them.
So I'm positing this only because it's a vibe I got, but it doesn't have to be the same for everyone, since it's not spelled out. Unless we ask the man, we're not going to get a definitive answer on that. So
There's also the fact
Multiverse
of
theory.
tempering
go away.
in mind.
I honestly just wish they'd name it something else. Is that silly of me?
No, I'm right there with you, Neela.
I feel like the name, again, in its origin and roots is maybe what they're going for, but what it's become is maybe not what they're going for.
Let's just name it
Yeah.
Taroverse.
I mean, that feeds into it
I will
too.
call it the paradox effect.
Turn on your location. I just want to talk.
I mean, they confirmed in Heaven's Word that it
I live
was,
an
and
hour south of you. What are you talking
and
about?
I've been
Turn on your
arguing-
location. I'm inbound.
I'll hold him down.
I've been
I'm gonna
arguing
kick your ass.
since Heaven's Word that it's been a multiverse, just because that's what they framed it as, and there was a lot of confusion in Endwalker, but calling it a multiverse instead of split timelines,
Showing it as.
yeah, it is messy and it's a little lazy, to be honest.
Unfortunately, I think Dawntrail was on the whole a very good expansion. There were little things here and there which will either pan out into, oh, this is some clever foreshadowing that I didn't catch, or there's some clumsiness going on here, which, it happens. It's not deal breaking, but it could be better.
I'm hoping for clever.
We'll see if
foreshadowing,
this is one of those things or not.
because they've set up a lot of really good stuff, and they've
Agreed.
opened up a lot of questions and possibilities. Now it just remains
Even-
to see if they pay off.
Even more than that, they've gone back to the roots and the basis, a lot of ethereal mechanics, to build off of that instead of branching into new stuff.
Right. Which I appreciate, because
Absolutely.
I need answers, and I got a couple of answers, but more importantly, I got more questions.
To all of
I was
my
thinking
Stop. Turn on your location. I am inbound.
my own words used against me. No, hold on. We'll go get the creepy echoey one.
Oh no!
Well,
Just for you, Arden.
it is 10:37 here, so we should probably wrap up this episode today. But Aeneas, I believe you wanted to make an announcement.
Yes. So we touched a little bit on this earlier, but Savage is coming out in 2 days. 3 days. Time isn't real for me right now. Even if you're not
Time
a
is
raider,
not real anymore.
yeah, time isn't real anymore. We've established that. That was the whole plot of this episode. I just wanted to shill the world race for a second, because even if you're not a Savage Raider, if you're just interested in the story, there's always very interesting stuff happening in those fights that is very relevant for lore conversations. If you tune in to Mog Talk, as usual, it is always a charity stream. If you come show support, even just having it running in the background helps out a great deal. Myself and many friends are helping run and track the event this year. So it would mean a great deal to me if y'all showed up and supported these awesome teams that are racing for World First, and also just, did some charity.
It's a lot of
Yeah.
good
That's
work.
it. That's my little thing.
Yeah, a lot of good work, a lot of good people, and fun time. And where can people go to watch it?
Mog Talk, the official Mog Talk Twitch channel. And of course, there will be hundreds of teams streaming their own progress as well.
Awesome. Love it. All right. Anything anyone else wants to add before we wrap for today?
Play Final Fantasy XI.
Yes.
Speaking of shills,
When are they
and
gonna?
we're going to be like that, play the 13 trilogy.
True.
When are they gonna bundle
Here
the
I am
subs?
sitting back and not shilling anything.
Yeah,
They-
for real. When are
Well,
they
get-
going to
get on
bundle
it.
the subs?
I don't think they can do that just because of the way the servers work.
Yeah, probably.
unfortunately. But if you need an installation guide that is updated for the 20th century, I have written one. I can link in the LoreLine server if you need.
You
Because
pretty
the
much.
wikis have not been updated in over a decade.
Yeah.
Play
yeah.
online is a nightmare.
And I have navigated it so you don't have to.
Amazing.
I do love the Play Online launcher, though. I like the little ditty and the little chocobo chick cursor.
It's
You
very-
love it, others
Aw.
consider it a nightmare.
They should remix the music for the start of the Alliance raids, like the Idols
Yes.
mode, before you go
Yes.
in. It's just the play online music, and
Oh
it's
my
slightly
God.
louder than the rest
Just
of
make it the
the
me theme.
reason.
You're
Yeah,
trying to give people PTSD here.
I'm actually
Yes.
doing that, yes. Please play Final Fantasy XI to learn more about this meme.
Also, Cobb, you're
Yeah.
going to resume Type 0 soonish.
Yes. Hopefully next week. I haven't decided on an actual day yet, but I will update everyone and we'll post it on our Twitter when we get that nailed down.
Yeah.
And I will be doing just normal Savage Prog next week on my Twitch, assuming that my group can find a physical range DPS, because we're still missing a person. Yay.
And don't forget to tune into the World Race. All right.
And support Mog Talk.
Yes, and support
It's a
Mog
world
Talk
record.
and the charities and all the wonderful people who work really hard to make all that happen. All right, everybody. Thank you again and have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Take care.
See ya.
Thanks.